Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video, and it's been a couple of weeks, but we finally have a new beta build with a bunch of class updates. So I want to make sure that you guys are staying up to date with the news and everything related to World of Warcraft, and if you want to make sure that you're not missing out, smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated, but there's a lot to cover, so let's just start immediately. For the overall classes, the developer's notes read, in this midnight update, we are making several tuning changes across all healer specs. Thank God I didn't do any healing testing up to this point. We have been looking at data from all forms of content and have noticed that healing burst and incidental healing has crept back up to a place that is higher than we would like it to be. They don't want people's HP going 0 to 100, 100 to 0, which is good because I feel like that's like the most jarring thing in the game. If you're a new person, if you're an observer, whatever, right? It's just like, what the, everything is just like, slow it down. So it's like, you know, going like that. But it's the war that they always have that they've yet to be able to win. So we have made changes to every healer specialization to adjust the output of many of their spells. Many sources of burst healing or incidental and uncontrolled healing have been reduced, but we have also increased the value by several spammable healing spells. We are closely monitoring the situation. We'll continue to adjust healer throughput as Midnight's beta test continues. I think this is good. It's good. I mean, this is going to probably take like a few more waves of tuning to hit, but that's like, this is literally the most game-changing part of the next expansion, which is why I'm going to do a healer test breakdown now that they fixed all the bugs of the trinkets too in the near future. Deathbringer for Frost. Exterminate no longer reduces the rune cost of Obliterate. That sounds like a nerf. For Riders of the Apocalypse, Trollbane's Chains of Ice no longer deals damage. Excuse me. Mograin's Death and Decay damage, though, has been increased by 50%. I think this is a pretty significant portion of damage. I don't know if they're trying to equalize Sand Lane and Riders, and that's their goal with this. Because I feel like that was like at least maybe 6%, at least of current damage output. Sand Lane, Desecrate has been moved to a choice node with Blood-Soaked Ground. And for Blood, a new talent. Your Blood Plague deals 30%. Wait, can you guys see what's on screen? Am I scrolling too fast? I think I'm scrolling too fast, guys. Maybe I'm not. Maybe everything is fine. But I feel like I'm scrolling too fast, so I want to double check that we're not scrolling too fast. New talent. Oh, we're scrolling a little bit too fast. All right, we got it back on track. Your Blood Plague deals up to 30% increased damage based on your target's missing health. Visceral Strength no longer grants Bone Shield stacks. And Gift of Sand Lane now only activates from casting Dancing Rune Weapon. So, pretty sizable buffs, it seems, for Blood, at least in overall damage. For Unholy DK, new talent, Inevitable. Your plagues deal up to 30% increased damage based on the target's missing health. Vampiric Strike grants maximum stacks of Clawing Shadows. So curious to see what this does to the execute phase for DKs, because that seems to be the focus. Transfusion has been updated. Vampiric Strike increases the damage of the lesser ghoul it summons by 20%. Infliction of Sorrow has an additional effect. Vampiric Strike erupts your plagues with 30% increased effectiveness. So really plague focused on this build. Infliction of Sorrow now extends the duration of the plagues by 2 seconds, up from 1.5. And Frenzied Bloodthirst now also increases the damage of Epidemic per stack of Essence of the Blood Queen. Vampiric Strike damage increased by 10%. So Sand Lane getting substantial buffs here towards execute phase and dot damage. Really leaning into the dots, which is probably a good direction to go for the hero talent tree. So if you want to be a dot build, go Sand Lane. If you want to be a pet build, go Riders type of deal. Now for Blood exclusively, Bloody Reflection, which is a new talent. While Blood Shield is active, taking direct damage reflects it back, dealing shadow damage to the attacker. Blood Shield's absorb is increased by up to 65% of your maximum health. That is going to be really OP in PvP. Melee auto attack damage is getting buffed by 150%, which is something they're doing for all the classes, so it looks like they're catching the tanks up. Mastery, Blood Shield now appropriately displays the absorb amount is up to 50% of your maximum health. They did nerf Blood Boil by 12%. Deadly Reach now deals 75% of Death Strike damage to additional targets hit. And Bloodshot no longer only increases physical damage, now it increases all damage dealt by 8% while Blood Shield is active. That sounds better. Dance of Midnight, chance to summon an additional dancing rune weapon has been reduced to 10% from 15 though, and your set bonuses are getting nerfed, it looks like, from 15% damage on Blood Boil to 8, and Death Strike's chance to grant a Blood Boil charge reduced to 10 from 20. So these are likely in line with the PvE testing that they've been undergoing. It looks like they're doing another wave of dungeon testing, and then maybe we'll get a PvP wave, I don't know. For Frost DKs, Chosen of the Frost Brood, Apex second node, thank you for letting me know this. Frostworm's Fury extends the duration of the active of Pillar of Frost by 2 and 4 seconds. Making Frostworm's Fury a little bit kind of juicy there. Get a little bit longer Pillar window. What's going on with Unholy? You guys have a little paragraph going on here. Pestilence has been redesigned. It consumes 100% of the plagues around you and deals 150% of the remaining damage instantly. You will gain a charge of Putrefy. It has a 15-second cooldown, 1 rune cost. Outbreak is replaced with Pestilence. I think before it was like consume a bit of your dots, but not all of it. So now it's like a giga hit. I don't know if I still don't really like that gameplay, but maybe that's better than where it was before, at least. Necromancer's Cunning is being updated. Putrefy now summons a lesser ghoul to attack instead, and when your lesser ghoul expires, they explode in viscera, dealing what is this? AP shadow damage to enemies. Alright, so you're just getting exploding ghouls. Reanimation as an additional effect. Magus of the Dead, Frostbolts, and Shadowbolts deal 25% more damage. Okay. Okay. Harbinger of Doom secondary effect has been updated. When Scourge Strike summons a lesser ghoul, the cooldown of your Putrefy is also reduced by 2.5 seconds. Okay. Scourging has been updated. Scourge Strike now erupts your plagues at 50 to 70% effectiveness. Clawing Shadows can now stack up to 2 additional times. I mean, these are good. All disease eruption effects, such as Blight Burst and Pestilence, are now consolidated into 1 damage spell. All Will Serve will now function correctly with Necrotic Coil and Graveyard. Dark Transformation no longer deals damage, though. Raise Abomination Disease Cloud no longer deals damage. Soul Reaper damage got buffed by 100%, so really focusing on the execute window. Pet Ghoul and Lesser Ghoul Sweeping Claws increased by 50. Pet Ghoul and Ghoul Claw damage increased by 50. Just buffs all across the board here. Rapid Variant 100%. Death Coil 25. Epidemic 25. Graveyard 25. Festering Scythe and Super Strain have swapped positions on the talent tree. So I feel like that's a pretty interesting update for DK as far as like being able to possibly get some disease builds and just overall buffs and a little bit more gameplay to some of your more passive abilities. For Demon Hunter, new talent for the Annihilator. They updated your Voidfall icon. I'm not going to lie, this is so troll. I read that out and I was like getting excited to read something thrilling, and okay, it's a new icon. Eldraki Reaver for Havoc. Thrill of the Fight has been redesigned. After consuming both enhancements, gain Thrill of the Fight, increasing the damage of your next Reaver's Glaive by 30% and increasing haste by 6% for 30 seconds. I don't remember what this was before, to be fair. So if you're a Havoc Demon Hunter main, and can let me know. I know that they're trying to simplify, all the classes, so maybe this is just an easier way of pulling this off for a very similar effect, or maybe it's a monstrous nerf. I'm not sure. Fury of the Eldraki damage reduced by 18%, and now deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets. Broken Spirit now triggers from Blade Dance. I don't know if that's super OP or not. But it does seem like they're kind of taking, emphasis away from the Eldraki Reaver window. For Fellscarred and Void Scarred, for Havoc, Demon Surge now deals chaos damage instead of fire. I think that's, you lose out on some of the healing talents on the class tree, but I think it should do more damage. But then it's just going to get nerfed. So it does chaos damage, but it's going to get nerfed. Okay. Demon Surge damage increase per stack has also been reduced by 5%. Demon Surge now always empowers Blade Dance and Chaos Strike when entering demon form. Even if Metamorphosis is already active. Burning Blades effect now also includes the first blood portion. Blade Dance's damage. Burning Blades effect has been reduced to 30% of the listed skill damage from 50. So just nerfs, it seems like, for Fellscarred. I don't know how much of a deal this, changing it to chaos might be. Maybe it's exactly the same. Bit hard to tell. Probably something that's gonna have to get played with to know for sure. Devourer, they've updated many talent spells and abilities. Yeah, because they said fell and they were green, so they're just making everything purple. Havoc Demon Hunter. Blind Fury now causes Eye Beam to generate only 30 Fury per second, down from 40. Furious Gaze effect now grants 8% haste, down from 10. And a Fire Inside effect now reduces the cooldown of Immolation Aura by 6 seconds instead of a 30% chance to refund a charge when cast. Netherwalk is just completely deleted. So you lost a stun and you're losing your ice block, but this is all part of their grand disarmament scheme. That's the biggest thing for Demon Hunter. Feels like you're getting kicked in the shins on this update a little bit. But at the same time, your self healing is so high at the moment, and you're getting 2 blurs, I think. So you're just trading off not having an immunity for 2 blurs almost in some sense from the current iteration of Demon Hunter. For Druid of the Claw, for Feral, Ursine Potential is increased to Mangle and Swipe damage in bear form is now 50% down from 300. Twin Claw damage increased by 20. Now they did like a Giga buff to... What, is this only for Feral? Do you even use Mangle as Feral? Am I cooked here? I thought they deleted Mangle from the game on Bear, and I didn't know you had Mangle still as Feral. I'm pretty sure you don't. But I guess Swipe was just doing crazy damage or something. Elun's Chosen. The Light of Elun triggers Fury of Elun 20% less frequently. God dang, bro. I'm getting nerfed. Lunar Amplification has been removed. Stellar Command moved to Lunar Amplification. We've removed Amplification and moved Stellar Command. Also means that Lunar Calling will be included in all Elun Chosen builds. It has been a popular choice, and we're making the change it makes to Starfire's role in balanced rotation definitionally for Elun's Chosen. Oh, okay. So it's just going to be passively at all times. Loon Nation for Boomkin causes your arcane abilities to reduce the cooldown of Fury of Elun only by 1.5 down from 2. So obviously they were proccing a bunch of Fury of Eluns and getting the cooldown reduction a little bit too much. So I wanted to bring it down. For Keeper of the Grove, potent enchantments have been updated. Orbital Strike damage increased by 30%. The problem is that Orbital Strike competes with 2 Incarns. I just don't... How are you ever going to compete with 2 Incarns, bro? And damage of Stellar Flare it applies increased by 30%. Whirling Stars increases the haste you gain during Celestial Alignment by an additional 10%. Bounteous Bloom has been updated. Force of Nature summons 4 Trents. Do I need more trees? Why do I need more trees? Moonfire cast by your Trents no longer generates Astral Power. I will take 1 less tree to get Astral Power, bro. What is that? I don't want an extra tree running around doing nothing. Harmony of the Grove causes your Force of Nature Trents to increase your spell damage by 4% down from 8. That's because you have 4 of them now. So it's 12, isn't it? Or is it per tree, or is it for all of the trees? I'm not sure. Cenarius Might also only increases your haste by 8 down from 12. Sylvan Beckoning's Dryad Star Surge damage is... Oh my god, they nerfed it. I'm getting nerfed too, bro. I'm getting hit in the shins. Sylvan's Beckoning Dryad Starfall damage is also being reduced to 200% from 300%. They were made in a previous patch, but not included, apparently. Oh, so those are already technically live. Boomkin! Oh my god, we got an essay for Boomkin, finally. To adjusting tuning of several abilities, these changes aim to reduce some of the more subtle complexities of Boomkin. I didn't think we were complex. Whirling Stars and Potent Enchantments have been updated to make aligning balances various cooldowns more straightforward and consistent for both hero talent options. Astral Power generation has been reduced slightly to reduce the number of GCDs needed to cast Spenders, and damage of Spenders has been increased to compensate. So we're going to Star Surge less, but they're going to hit bigger. Global cooldown after activating Solar or Lunar Eclipse shortened to 0.5 instead of the normal 1. Ooh. Ooh. We're getting faster globals when we get into Eclipse, but we're doing 70% less damage. I thought we were doing more damage and getting less globals. What the hell? This is the opposite of what they just said. Whirling Stars has been updated. Celestial Alignment's cooldown is reduced by 60 seconds and has 2 charges. Isn't that what it already did? Updated Meteorites, Lunar Bolt and Solar Bolt to correctly benefit from Mastery, Astral Invocation, and Eclipses. Okay, good, because they were useless procs. Star Surge, 8% damage, meh. Sunspeaker, no, why are you making the mushrooms spawn 10% less frequently? What do you do? Stop. Wild Mushroom damage increased by 20%, though, if you take the manual use. So I thought we were trying to reduce keybinds. That's making me think you have to take the manual one. Meteorites got a big buff by 150%. Denizen of the Dream procs got a 20% buff. Moonfire and Sunfire got buffed on damage. Shooting Stars got buffed on damage. Celestial Fire increases Sunfire, Moonfire, and Shooting Stars damage, though, only by 8% down from 15. So is it to make that talent less mandatory? They just buffed it all baseline? I feel like if you buff it baseline, this is still a lot because it's just buffing a base increase. Like, it's still mandatory. Ascendant Eclipses Solar Bolts prefer to target your currently selected target. Good. Ascendant Eclipses Astral Smolder damage deals 12% of the damage dealt down from 20, and Solar Bolt damage was reduced though by 25%. Some of this is inconsistent to me, at least. Nature's Balance now generates 1 Astral Power every 2 seconds while in combat, down from 2 every 3. Ooh, that's a lot less. Soul of the Forest astral power generation is being reduced to 40 from 50%. Just the Cosmos chance to trigger reduced to 15% from 18. And Starfire, why would they nerf that? Was that really that? I guess it must have been in PvE. That was like where you hard cast a spell, it gave you a free Star Surge or whatever. Nature's Grace reduces the cast time of affected spells by 30% down from 40. What am I getting the Pew Pikachu Wrath anywhere? Elune's Challenge reduces the cast time of affected spells by 20 down from 25. Star-Lord can no longer be force cancelled. That's probably a good change. I would hate having to do that. I don't bother to do that, but yeah. I think this is probably for the best that you can't manually get rid of it. The Nature's Grace and Elune's Challenge choice node has been moved to row 6. Sundering, Firmament, and Orbit Breaker have been moved to Nature's Grace previous location. I have to play with that to know how that's going to feel, because I'm kind of thrown off by some of that. Like, some of that's reducing GCDs, and then other parts is increasing cast time. So for Feral, these changes are primarily ability and talent tuning. The new Panther's Guile also adds a single target option in Gate 2 that adds some rotational variety. Panther's Guile is being redesigned. When Shred or Moonfire generate combo points, they have a 25% chance to regenerate full combo points. Hello? No, we're not doing that. Shred damage got nerfed by 8%, and Swipe got nerfed by 8%. Moonfire and Lunar Inspiration got buffed by 10. Sudden Ambush also increases the damage dealt by affected attacks by 50%. Focused Frenzy now also increases Feral Frenzy damage by 40%. Your Builders got nerfed a tiny bit, and I mean, that's going to be, I feel like it's going to be insane. You're going to you're just going to be proccing Ferocious Bites all the time. It's a 25% chance. That's so high. They buffed melee attack damage for tanks. Yeah, this is the tank auto attack catch up phase. Resto Druids got a 5% healing nerf. This is where they're trying to bring down the burst healing, I think. Everbloom splashes 10% of Life Bloom healing down from 15. Life Treading increases Efflorescence healing by 25 down from 30. And Wild Synthesis increases Grove Guardian's Efflorescence healing by 30 down from 35. Maybe just targeting most of the passive healing, I suppose. Augmentation Evoker. You guys still exist? Personal and pet damage of all spells reduced by 15%. No, you don't. Duplicate no longer increases Ebonmite's self-damage, increased by 100% while it's active. What? Duplicates 100% increased Ebonmite no longer snapshots, and Midnight Season 1 2-set bonus extends Ebonmite by 0.25. You're just getting nerfed, it looks like. A lot less personal damage. I think they still want you guys to suck. Devastation. Animosity's effect now diminishes by 25% per empower spell cast during Dragon Rage. I don't know what it was before that. It sounds significant, though. For Preservation Evoker, as a part of a broader pass or at reducing some cooldown-based healing, we are reducing Preservation's healing capabilities with Merithra's Blessing and Temporal Anomaly. Life Force Bender was also significantly overperforming as a talent, and it's being redesigned as something that is easier to evaluate as a player. Life Force Bender is now red spells deal 20% more damage than healing. Previously, it was Flame and Fire Breath increased by 1 to 2% of your maximum health. Yeah, I mean, I like simple math equations, not one that, yeah. I guess maybe if there were talents that increased your HP, it would, theoretically increase your damage that you could consider. Like, I don't know how many people were actually doing that. I think Windwalker used to have something like that with Fort Brew, increase the damage of some of their abilities or something like that because it was percent health based. Merithra's Blessings reverses 1% of the damage taken down from 2. And Merithra's Blessings primary target, so they're just nerfing Merithra's Blessings, it looks like. Fixing an issue with Consume Flame was double dipping on the healing modifiers. Temporal Anomaly Absorption now falls off more sharply when healing more than 6 targets. Living Flame healing increased by 28%. Verdant Embrace increased by 15%. So trying to take healing out of passives and cooldowns and put it into your direct abilities. I think that's good. The game has way too many passives, way too many cooldowns. I think that's good. I don't know if this is enough to achieve what they're trying to do, but I think it's the right direction, right? Like we're moving in the right direction. It's probably going to take more updates though to get to the destination. For Hunter, for Beast Mastery, for Dark Ranger, the Bell Toll's pet damage increased by 6% up from 3. Through the Eyes, Black Arrow damage increased by 20% up from 10. Oh my god, BM Hunter got buffed. Oh god. Pack Leader, Wyvern's Gaze no longer increases the damage bonus of Wyvern's Cry. Fury of the Wyvern no longer increases. Is it Wyvern or Wyvern? Let me know in the comments down below. No longer increases the damage of Wyvern's Cry. I'm just going to switch it every time I say it. Wyvern's Cry no longer gets bonuses initial stacks when applied, was granting a starting point of 15 stacks. Wyvern's Cry now stacks to a maximum of 10 down from 25. Pack Mentality now increases the damage of kill command by 50% down from 100. So Pack Leader, I think, got nerfed. Beastmaster has been performing stronger than intended between several bug fixes and adjustments below. We are hoping to bring their damage into a better spot relative to other DPS play. Hey, you guys are overperforming in PvE too, is what this looks like. That's what this looks like. Most of these changes are around the Wyvern's Cry buff from the Pack Leader hero talents, which is both a large percentage damage increase and has relatively high uptime. So we're reducing the effectiveness of the buff, and they're also nerfing kill command by 15%. So yeah, I was kind of right about BM Hunter being the best class in my short, without even doing any extensive PvE testing. For Mage, for Frostfire Bolt get a 30% nerf. My God, you're getting nerfed. You lost all your spells, and now you're getting nerfed, Fire Mages. This tuning change was applied via a hot fix in the previous beta build. Oh wait, what? That was already live. What? That was already live. That ability hits so hard. Dual casting Adept has been updated. Now increases shatter damage instead of ice lance damage. And shatter is like, wait, how is shatter gonna work for Fire Mages? They don't have shatter. Does this need to be under Frostfire Frost? I'm not sure. Rhymecaster has been updated. It now increases Frostbolt and Glacial Spike damage by 10 to 20%, down from 15 to 30. They're actually nerfing you guys. Heatsink has been updated. It now increases Flurry damage by 20, down from 30. Frostfire Bolt cast time is being reduced, though, from 2 to 1.75. Hey, if you're going to spam Fireball a game as a Fire Mage, it's going to be slightly faster. For Spell Slinger, oh my God. Splinter Storm used many effects, damaged instances, and auras to deliver what was ultimately a simple and very passive effect. We are moving Augury Bounds effects to Splinter Storm, since the significant boost in Splinter generation and the throughput impact feels more capstone worthy. Augury Abounds has been redesigned to provide a new source of Splinter generation that retains the bursty feel of Splinter Storm, and the clear casting / brain freeze proc chance to increase is being added as a passive effect on Archmage's Wrath. Our goal with these changes is to eliminate very fringe optimization potential around tracking Splinter Storm, while also reducing the number of auras and damage events that Spellslinger introduced. So just complexity reductions. Splinter's sorcery is being updated. Splinters no longer apply a damage over time effect. Augury Abounds has been redesigned. Conjuring a Splinter has a 15% chance to conjure an additional Splinter. Archmage's Wrath now additionally increases the chance for you to gain clear casting or brain freeze. Splinter Storm has been redesigned. Arcane Surge conjures 8 Splinters. While Arcane Surge is active, your chance to conjure an additional Splinter is increased by 100%. I don't like them putting so much emphasis on Arcane Surge. And then for Ray of Frost, each time it deals one damage. Each time it damages one or more enemies, it conjures 1 Splinter for 10 seconds, and after casting Ray of Frost, your chance to conjure the Splinters is increased. I don't know how much I like this, but the emphasis on that cooldown window. Splinters will now prefer targeting enemy. I mean, they may as well, they could just like remove Splinters and just say Ray does more damage, Arcane Surge does more damage. It'd be the same thing with less procs and weird passive things. Polished Focus reverted to previous functionality. I'm not sure what that is for Frost, if that's a big deal or not. Overflowing energy is being updated. It now grants 20% increased Fireball critical strike chance per stack, up from 10. You're only going to be able to press Fireball, but it's going to crit a lot. Arcane Mage Mana Adept has been updated. It now grants 2% of your maximum mana from 1.5. Overpowered Missiles is being updated. It now additionally causes Arcane Missiles to grant maximum stacks of Arcane Salvo. Charged Missiles has been updated. The damage bonus is reduced in half. Arcane Blast is game up by 20. Arcane Pulse is game up by 20. Arcane Surge 20. Arcane Orb 20. Arcane Missiles 20. Arcane Barrage 40. Okay. I mean, this is your juice patch, I guess. I'm going to make an Arcane Mage and see how this feels mechanically, because obviously like they can tune you to be viable, but I'm worried about the mechanics. Fire Mage! This is the big one. Like, this is the one where hopefully they've cooked something. Meteor is still underperforming, so we are giving it a bump up in damage and further increasing its single target priority target effectiveness. The update to Overflowing Energy and Fireball's cast time reduction are intended to help Fireball more consistently and frequently generate hot streaks in between your combustion windows. Okay, so you're going to be able to proc more often with Fireball. We're also reintroducing Scorch and Heat Shimmer, where they focus on adding some more procs and gameplay in between your combustion windows. Oh my God, we won. We got a button back. It's not Phoenix Flames, but we got a button back. Fireball is going to be more interactive. Heat Shimmer is returned. While Combustion is not active, the damage from Ignite has a small chance to make your next Scorch instant and deal 100% more damage, as though your target was at low health. Deep Impact has been updated. It now causes Meteor to deal 75% increased damage to the closest, up from 50. Scald has been updated. Fireball will always critically strike enemies below 30%. When Fireball or Scorch damage an enemy below 30, Fireball deals 50% increased damage, and Scorch deals 250% increased damage. Burnout's been updated. It now deals 75% of Ignite's remaining damage, up from 50. Meteor damage increased by 30. Meteor ground effect duration reduced to 4 from 8, though. Damage increased proportionately. Oh, it's going to do more damage faster. Fireball cast time reduced to 1.75. Kindling is now a 1-point talent. It grants 60-second cooldown. Ooh, that's a lot of efficiency. Scorch has returned and is now available below Ignition. Inflame's position has changed in the talent tree. From the Ashes and Field of Burn have switched places on the talent tree. Scorch's passive has been removed. Firestarter no longer a choice node with Scorch passive and available in the Gate 1 below Pyroblast. The following talents have been removed: Mark of the Firelord and Pyro Mastery. So Fire might be saved. This is a good direction, good step for you, I think. Frost Mage. We're continuing to iterate on Frost AoE and Cleave gameplay alongside a significant update to Frost's capstone talents. We've received a lot of feedback that target swapping and debuff tracking can feel overwhelming in AoE, so we're taking a bigger swing at focusing Frost's freezing and shattering gameplay to your primary target. This involves removing a myriad of effects that applied freezing in AoE, while also adding an AoE damage hook for shatter. With these updates, the rate at which you apply freezing to your primary target should significantly outweigh your ability to apply freezing to other targets. A new iteration on Fractured Frost will intelligently shatter nearby freezing enemies, bringing target swapping and debuff stacking requirement down significantly. That's kind of like the wound popping, right? Or you pop wounds on a target, we cleave pop them on the off targets. I'm probably just adding that mechanic in if I had to guess. We're retaining a few ways to add freezing in AoE, but we'll monitor the impact it has on gameplay and make adjustments as necessary. New passive Winter's End. When an enemy affected by freezing dies, it explodes, dealing frost damage to a nearby enemy for each stack of freezing it had. See, that's such a good way of like if you're a dot class, that target dies, just boom. You know, that like it's a better way than like manually stripping your dot off the target, you know, before the target does. Damage reduced beyond 5 targets learned at level 40. New talent Lonely Winter. I'm having a lonely winter in Canada right now. Spell damage increased by 3%. Choice node with Water Elemental. You have to choose between 3% damage and Little Welly Boy. Which one of you evil people is going to choose 3% damage and no Welly Boy? New talent, Glacial Chill. Glacial Spike damage increased by 5%, and it now applies 2 additional stacks of freezing. It's a choice node with Glacial Shatter. Glacial Shatter, Glacial Spike no longer applies freezing, and it now shatters 5 stacks of freezing. Oh my god, it can make it do insane damage. Ice Lance reduces the cooldown of Frozen Orb by 0.5, increased by 0.1 second for each stack of shattering. Fingers of Frost has been updated and now has 2 charges of baseline. What the hell, dude? Mages are winning, dude. Mages are winning, bro. Frostbite's being updated. No longer causes Blizzard to apply freezing. Now causes Shatter to deal damage to nearby enemies. Yeah, so that's going to be the DK mechanic. Hand of Frost is being updated. It now applies 1 stack of freezing down from 2. Fractured Frost has been redesigned. Your Ice Lance strikes 1 additional target, 100% effectiveness, preferring enemies with more freezing stacks. Thermal Void's being updated. It no longer causes a second Ice Lance cast. Instead, causes your next Ice Lance to shatter additional stacks of freezing. Glaciate has been redesigned. When Ice Lance shatters a stack of freezing, the cooldown of Ray of Frost is reduced. God, these are crazy good. Piercing Cold has been updated. It now increases Flurry and Frostbolt critical strike damage. Everlasting Frost has been updated. Now additionally causes Frozen Orb to damage to have a 3% chance to grant Fingers of Frost. Splintering Ray has been updated. It no longer applies freezing to enemies damaged by the area effect. Wintertide's been redesigned. Now causes Frozen Orb to grant Brain Freeze. Choice Note with Whiteout. Rhymecaster has been updated. It now increases Frostbolt and Glacial Spike by 10 to 20%, down from 15 to 30. Glacial Assault got 200% buff. Shatter got a 25% buff. I mean, you're just winning, right? Mages are winning. You're getting faster Frostbolts. I mean, mages are just winning. You guys are just winning, bro. This is winning. All right, are monks winning? Hero talent, Master of Harmony. Coalescence has been redesigned. I've scrolled too far again. When Aspect of the Harmony deals damage and healing, it has a chance to spread to a nearby enemy and ally. When you directly attack and heal an affected target, it has a chance to intensify, withdrawing additional vitality to increase its effect by up to 20%. Keg Smash, Vivify, Shaylun's Gift no longer contribute vitality, instead drawing on available vitality to deal up to 100% additional damage and healing. Vitality stored by other abilities is increased by 50%. That is the most confusing redesign. So you're just getting, your stuff does more stuff and it cleaves. So that's the best way I can understand that. Clarity of purpose has been updated. Casting Enveloping Mist stores additional vitality. Previously, it was Vivify or Shaylin's gift. For Brewmaster, bring me another, rank 1. Drinking a brew has a 20% chance to leave you with an empty barrel, which is tossed along with your next keg smash to deal physical damage to your target. It ricochets up to 4 times at 80%. It's Avenger's Shield, except it's a keg. Ranks 2 out of 3. Gaining an empty barrel resets the cooldown of keg smash and makes it next cast 50 to 100% less energy. Physical damage dealt increases. This sounds fun. What is this for Brewmaster? Rank 4. When you cast Fortifying Brew or Celestial Brew, you tap a fresh keg, granting yourself and 2 nearby allies a refreshing drink and leaving you with an empty barrel. Empty barrel damage is increased by 100%. Empty barrel may now ricochet back to enemies they've already hit. And empty barrel damage is increased by 50%. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me want to play a Brewmaster. What? You're just getting everybody wasted and throwing barrels at people? Invoke Nizal the Black Ox has been updated. It now stomps when you cast Blackout Kick instead of Purifying Brew. Exploding Kegs being updated and now additionally resets the cooldown of Keg Smash. Empty the Cellar's damage increased by 100%. Now reduces Brew cooldowns by 3 seconds per additional keg. And Staggering Strikes stagger clear reduced by 40%. You buffed your auto attack damage. Fix an issue causing refreshing drinks to only heal the Brewmaster, not their allies. Keg Volley, though, has been removed. Fuel on the fire and empty on the cellar no longer share a selection. I mean, that sounds fun. Brewmaster kind of sounds fun. Mistweaver Monk. Invigorating Mist healing increased by 100%. Okay, Mistweavers must have sucked. Invoke Yulon the Jade Serpent now decreases the cast time of Enveloping Mist, though, by 30 down from 60. Why are you hard casting Enveloping Mist? Emperor's Favor now increases Shaylin's gift healing by 20 down from 150. Okay, never mind. Maybe you didn't suck. Maybe you're getting nerfed. You were too good. Silent Sanctuary no longer triggers while at full health. Strength of the Black Ox no longer scales based on the monk's health. Fix an issue that caused Misty Coalescence to not remove dead party members from its healing increase. And Unison has been removed. Windwalker Slicing Winds got a 50% nerf. God dang. Hurricane's Vault now increases the slicing wind damage by 40% from 100%. God damn, they don't like slicing winds, bro. Celestial Conduit healing also got reduced by 80%. Windwalkers, you got kneecapped right now. Holy Paladin Veneration now triggers from Judgment and grants an Absorb Shield for 15% of the damage. It was previously 30%. Judgment's cooldown has been reduced by 22%. Significant. Holy Shock's cooldown is now 6 seconds down from 7.5. This is very significant. Beacon of Light now transfers 10% of healing down from 20 though. Fixing issues, so nerfing the passive healing but giving you more active abilities. That falls in line with what they were trying to do in the overall approach to healers. They fixed an issue that caused Ringing of the Heavens to activate Aurora and Dawnlight from its free Divine Toll. That sounds like a nerf. See, sometimes I wonder if there's like little bugs in the game that are just like completely changing your class and we just don't know. Proc got 100% melee damage buff. For Rhett, Light Within Apex talent, rank 1 has been updated. No longer grants Righteous Cause or Art of War when Avenging Wrath is cast. Isn't that a nerf? You're not getting like an extra proc. Judge, Jury, and Executioner now causes 1 holy power consuming ability to refund its cost. It was 2 previously. Divine Resonance now grants the additional holy power instantly rather than waiting on the cast of the additional judgment. Okay, so you're not gonna have to like time your holy power in between these random hammers going. A little easier to play if it wasn't already easy. For Shadow, for Archon, Mindflay Insanity now generates 8 Insanity over Restoration down from 12, and Halo only generates 5 down from 10. For Void Weaver, Void Infusion grants 50% additional Atonement healing down from 100%. Void Infusions now function with both Penance and Void Blast and requires Entropic Rift to be active. These are pretty substantial nerfs. For Shadow, Void Infusion now causes Void Blast to generate 2 additional Insanity down from 6. A lot of insanity generation reductions there. For Discipline, the structure of the final gate's been significantly altered to facilitate more synergistic branching paths. Complicated lingo, I see. Mindbender has been redesigned. Evangelism summons a Mindbender to attack a nearby target for 12 seconds. Choice note with Archangel. So they took Shadow Fiend away. It looks like Mindbender's still in there, but it's going to be fused in with Evangelism. New talent, Searing Light. Your Penance bolts sear the enemy, dealing 30% of the damage over 8 seconds. So you're getting a dot. New talent, Death's Torment. Shadow or Death deals damage 2 additional times at 15% effectiveness. Does that mean it's going to break CC 2 additional times? I don't know. Expiation consumes 1 second of Shadow Word pain per talent point, down from 3. Effectiveness increased to 300% from 200%. Okay. Greater Smite increases the damage of Smite by 15%, down from 20. Plea is now learned at level 80. It's no longer a talent. Greater Smite increases Smite damage by 20%, down from 25. Evangelism no longer causes Power Word Radiance to have no cooldown. Instead, your next 2 casts of it are instant. Okay. Inner Light and Shadow is no longer a capstone in the talent tree and has been added back to the PvP talents. Okay. Archangel is no longer a PvP talent and is now a capstone in the talent tree. God dang, bro. They're just yoinking out the talents from PvP and then trying them out and like, nah, they put that one back. Archangel has been redesigned. Evangelism increases your healing and absorption by 15%. So Archangel isn't going to be a separate keybind either. Ultimate Radiance no longer causes Power Radiance to be instant cast. Instead, it reduces the cooldown of Evangelism by 45 seconds. So Evangelism is a very important part of your class now, because you're not going to get baseline instant Radiances. It's going to be based around that window. Ultimate Radiance increases the healing of Powered Radiance by 15%, though, from 10. Atonement heals for 50% of the damage, down from 60. Mind Blast got nerfed by 30%. Depths of Shadow has been renamed back to Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend's passive effect now appears in the spell book for use with its associated glyphs. So Shadow Fiend is back, or it's not back, or it's passive. Divine Procession increases Atonement duration by 2 seconds from 3, down from 3. Void Shield chance to trigger is slightly reduced. Void Shield now prefers a target without your Atonement. Void Shield reflects 25% of the damage, though, up from 15. Void Shield reflect damage no longer scales with damage modifiers. Flash healing increased by 30%. Smite damage increased by 40%. So buffing the direct heals, nerfing some of the passive heals. Evangelism cast Powered Radiance at 150% effectiveness, down from 200. Occultist increases shadow damage and healing by 15%, down from 20. Purge the Wicked increases holy damage by 10%, down from 15. Powered Radiance healing reduced by 15. Master of Darkness of Shadow and Atonement healing increased by 3% per talent point, down from 5. It feels like nerfs mostly, though. When healing full health targets with Atonement, the healing value is now reduced. Mindbender damage got buffed by 100%. Shadow Fiend now has a 40% chance to trigger instead of being based on the target's current health. So the Shadow Word Deaths, I guess, is going to be what's proccing your Shadow Fiend. For Holy, Cosmic Wave now increases the healing of Cosmic Ripple by 15%, down from 60. Significantly nerfing your passive healing. Flash Shield is getting a 30% buff. Prayer of Healing is getting a 15% buff. Prayer of Mending is getting a 25% buff, and all healing is reduced by 5%. I really think this is a good direction to keep hammering down on, because I feel like it's going to make the game way easier to understand. Like, I pressed a heal, HP went up. Instead of out of the mystifying nothing ether, my team's full HP now. I am so tired of the whole, this guy's at 10%, now we're full health. I'm just so tired of that. Keep going in this direction, even if it's not achieved with these changes here, please. Shadow Priest, developers notes. We're making some updates to Shadow's insanity economy, which has gotten too high. We are reducing insanity from primarily passive sources. We're also reducing the damage of a few spells to diversify the spec's damage sources better. You got that insanity tax. You guys are too insane. No more. You guys need to see a shrink. You're too insane. Idol of your Shards is being redesigned. While Shadow Fiend, Mindbender, and Void Wraith are active, your haste is increased by 10%. Well, didn't this have some weird, like, negative effect on it? That just sounds way better than what I remember that one as. Shadow Word Madness now heals you for 30% of the damage done, like Devouring Plague did previously. I also want to know, Shadow Word Madness, I think, is a magic spell, so it's dispellable by all healers instead of a disease. But it means that the classes that could dispel diseases can't dispel it now, so I don't know. It's like I feel like it's a nerf to it, because then a healer's just going to wait till you dogpile all of them in and then dispel all your damage. Shadow Fiend, Mindbender, and Void Wraith now generate 1 insanity per attack, down from 2. Void Volley and Void Torrent can no longer trigger Idol of Cthulhu. God dang. They don't like it. You guys have had like 1 build, so I feel like they're trying to bring up your charge and nerf some other elements. Shadow Fiend now has a 40% chance to trigger instead of being based on the current target's health. Void Tendrils and Void Lashers from Isle of Cthulhu now last 10 seconds, down from 15. But they do the same damage faster. Void Tendril and Void Lashers generate 5 insanity, down from 15. Fixing issue causing Tormented Spirits not to function. Tormented Spirits chance to trigger reduced by 40%. Fix an issue causing Idol of N'Zoth to sometimes generate the incorrect amount of insanity. See, stuff like this makes me worried sometimes. Idol of Yogg-Saron now requires 20 stacks to summon, down from 25. And Shadow Word Madness damage, though, got nerfed by 30%. Didn't we just buff it here? It heals more, but it does less damage. Shadowy Apparition damage reduced by 30%. Haunting Shadows now increases the duration of Shattered Pain, Vampiric Touch by 1 second, down from 1.5. Depth of Shadows renamed back to Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend's passive effect now appears in the spellbook to be used as associated glyphs. So I'm guessing Shadow Fiend's back, but it's not an active ability. Mindbender is no longer affected by glyphs that change Shadow Fiend to a different creature. Mindbender damage got buffed by 100%. The final rank of Void Apparitions now has a more detailed tooltip, and Void Volley is no longer visible to allies in dungeons and raids. Because maybe it's a good thing. You take some of the animations, you know, Unicorn Vomit. Rogue! There's stuff for you. There's actually stuff for you. Deathstalker. Darkest Night. Increases the damage of your next Envenom or Eviscerate by 30% down from 40. Okay, it's nerfs. You got nerfs. Hunt Them Down has been reduced by 20%. For Subtlety Rogue, Corrupt the Blood has been redesigned. Deathstalker's mark damage increased by 25%. Is that a massive redesign? It just makes it do more damage. Symbolic Victory now triggers from Shadow Dance. It was previously Symbols of Death. And now increases the damage of your next Eviscerate or Black Powder by 15% down from 18. So that's just consolidating to keep up with the fact that they deleted symbols. Nothing major. Fatebound. Tails Fatebound coin flips damage has been reduced by 20%. This previous note had been reduced by 50% was incorrect. It was always 20% reduction. Its damage has not been further reduced. So this, again, these are just like typo corrections. Maybe there's not anything for you guys. Subtlety Rogue. Nimble Flurry effect now applies to auto attacks, Unseen Blade, and Coup de Grace. Effect no longer applies to Backstab, Gloom Blade, Shadow Strikes. That's passive. Entirely passive now for Trickster. Assassination got a 16% damage reduction nerf across the board and a 20% auto attack damage nerf on top of that. Fatal Concoction, though, increases the damage of your weapon poisons by 20 to 40, up from 15 to 30. So more poison damage. Oh, just overall weaker, though. For Outlaw Rogue, instant poison damage got a 50% buff. What about wound poison? Blade Rush damage to your primary target increased by 15%. I think there's a big emphasis on Blade Rush with this patch with the Apex talents. Scoundrel Strike damage increased by 15%, and Made Gosh damage increased by 150%. But all of your damage is nerfed by 16%. So your builders and finishers nerfed, but these abilities are stronger. For Subtlety, oh my god, this is a big one because they pruned a lot from you guys. Umbral Edge. Shadow clones deal 15% increased damage. Cheap Shot creates a Shadow clone to Shadow Strike the target for 50% of the normal damage as Shadow. Kidney Shot creates a Shadow clone to eviscerate the target for 50% of the normal damage as Shadow. More damage and stuns. Black Powder damage reduced by 9.6. Secret Technique damage, that was increased by 8.5. Improved Secret Technique bonus increased to 15 from 10. Replicating Shadows damage bonus to Shadow clones reduced to 15 from 20. Not really a lot, honestly, for Rogue. For Shaman, for Farseer, all Ancestor healing reduced by 40%. More nerfs. For Restoration, Mystic Knowledge now increases the recharge rate of Riptide by 10% down from 30. Again, I mean, this falls in line with what they want to do. No, less instant healing, less passive healing. So likely this is just part of the wave. For Restoration Totemic, Surging Totem healing rain effectiveness is increased by 20 down from 30. Split Stream now causes Healing Stream Totem to heal an additional ally at 30% effectiveness down from 100. Way less cleave passive healing. Whirling Water causes Healing Wave to heal an ally instead of your healing rain at 50% effectiveness down from 100. For the class, Primordial Bond being redesigned. Your Earth Elemental no longer taunts nearby enemies or generates threat, and instead increases your maximum health by 15%. Earth Elemental now clarifies its threat and taunt behavior in its tooltip. Earth Elemental no longer increases the maximum health of the Shaman. This effect has been moved to Primordial Bond. So you'll choose between a talent that makes your Earth Ellie have more health, I guess, versus a talent that makes you have more health during Earth Ellie. Something like that. Just trying to make it easier to understand for someone who doesn't know that that's a thing in the game, I guess, which is fine. Elemental Molten Wrath now increases Lava Burst damage by 15% down from 25. Echo Chamber now increases Elemental Overload by 25 down from 40. I wonder if, like, I feel like Ellie and Frosty K on like betas and PTR and stuff, they always get nerfed. I wonder if it's like you guys that play them test them too good on this. And like the other classes that don't get changes, it's like there's no one good enough testing them, so they don't get like the data to adjust them. Like you got the good players need to stop testing and then you stop getting giga nerfed. Primal Storm Elemental Storm Fury now deals its full damage over 4 seconds down from 8. Fire Elemental's Fire Blast damage is increased by 500%. Oh my god, and its Immolate damage by 500%, and its Meteor damage by 300%. They're buffing your elementals by a lot. Storm Elemental, Wind Gust 100%, Call Lightning 100%, Storm Fury 100%, fixing an issue causing a Fury of the Storm to not summon a Primal Elemental. Primal Elemental is now only grants direct control over your Primal Fire Ellie. Previously it was all 3. We're changing this to prevent summoning a Primal Elemental from dismissing your currently active Primal Elemental. Power of the Maelstrom now has a 15% chance to occur down from 40. And randomness of power of the Maelstrom has been updated to be more consistent, fixing an issue causing offering from beyond to not reduce the cooldown of Stormkeeper properly. Echo of the Elements has been removed. Echo of the Elements, is that not your... I have to do some research on this, or someone can let us know in the comments down below how big that is, because I thought that was a big thing. For Resto Shamans, Coalescing Water's been redesigned. Healing Wave and Chain Heal increase the initial healing of your next Riptide by 30%, stacking up to 2 times. I like that. Benefiting your instant healing through your casted instead of the other way around. Chain Heal, healing increased by 15. Chain Heal mana cost reduced by 10. Healing Waves, healing increased by 15. Whispering Waves now duplicates 10% of healing from Healing Wave from 15, but they nerfed all healing by 5%. So it seems like a good first wave for healers. For Warlock, Diabolus, Touch of Rancora now increases the damage of Hand of Gul'dan, Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, Shadowrun by 20% down from 100. God damn, I told you guys wouldn't get away with it. I told you guys in the previous video. So you guys, Warlocks, you ain't gonna get away with this. Eye explosion damage reduced by 30%, but not affected in PvP. For Affliction, your Wither damage is getting nerfed by 35%. See, Affliction's this weird spot where you can proc like Malevolence now, and procking Dark Soul, and what's the proc rate? And I feel like that's gonna cause a whole haywire of issues, but let's see what else they've got here. For Soul Harvester, Demonic Soul has been updated. A demonic entity now inhabits your soul, allowing you to detect if a soul shard has a succulent soul when granted. Consuming a succulent soul unleashes your demonic soul, dealing shadow damage to all enemies within 10 yards of your target. Damage reduced beyond 8. So just a little bit of extra AoE, nothing major. New talent for Affliction. You guys just get new stuff every time. Nether Plating adorns your Dark Glare with armor forged from within Antorus, increasing their armor by 10%. Why the hell do you care about how much armor your Dark Glare has? Eye Beam now jumps up to 4 additional targets and deals 10% increased damage. So it's going to be hitting more people for more damage. Fatal Echoes has been updated. When Unstable Affliction expires, it has a 10% chance to reapply itself up from 4. That's really good. Feraldir's got those like proc bites. You got the proc UAs. Call of the Week has been updated. Casting Unstable Affliction and Seed of Corruption reduces the cooldown of Dark Harvest by 3 seconds. It's also a pretty good synergy. Summon Dark Glare has been updated. It summons a Dark Glare from the Twisting Nether that increases the damage of Agony, Corruption, Wither, and Unstable Affliction by 20% while active. The Dark Glare will serve you for 20 seconds, blasting its target with shadow damage, increased by 10% down from 45, for every damage over time effect you have currently on their target. So they're trying to make Dark Glare more AoE and less single target, but then they also buff Dark Glare's Eye Beam by, say, 80%. We are adjusting Summon Dark Glare in Midnight's update. While pooling soul shards will still be valuable with this newer design, it deviates from the snapshot gameplay, should make pressing Unstable Affliction offer its summoning more worthwhile. Additionally, we are moving some of the conditional power of Dark Glare's Eye Beam into its baseline power so it stands as a powerful cooldown while keeping some of the skill expression and the dot maintenance. Unstable Affliction, though, got nerfed by 25%. Agony got nerfed by 40%, but not in PvP. Malevolent Visionary has been completely removed. Demonology. New talent, Hellbent Commander. Your demon deals 2% increased damage, or all your demons deal 2% increased damage for each demon you control. My God, bro, maybe you are going to get away with it. New talent to Hell and Back. Power Siphon and Implosion summon 1 Imp Gang boss for every 2 Wild Imps sacrificed. Wild Imps summoned this way gain Unstable Soul. God. Unstable Soul increases the damage done by 100%, and Fellfire Bolt now jumps to 3 additional targets. Doom damage increased by 50%, but not in PvP. Doomguard got an 80% damage increase. Hand of Gul'dan got a 20% damage increase. Wild Imp Fellfire Bolt got a 50% damage increase. Felguard got a 60% damage increase. Grimoire of the Fell Ravager got a 120% increase. And Grimoire of the Implore damage got a 120% increase. However, they removed Evil Eye and Eye of Gul'dan. I mean, I feel like Demo just got juiced even more. I was not expecting that. Destruction. They've moved a bunch of your talents. New talent, Inferno. Reduces the cooldown of Summon Infernal by 30 seconds. And increases your mastery by 3%. God damn, bro. You're going to be summoning so many rocks. So many pop rocks. New talent, Raging Demon Fire. Channel Demon Fire fires an additional 2 bolts. Each bolt increases the remaining duration of Wither on all targets hit by 0.5 seconds. Meh. New talent, Devastation. Increases the critical strike chance of your destruction spells by 3 to 6%. Okay, it's just 6% more damage than Chaos Bolt. Dimensional Rift is now passive, and it's been redesigned. Chaos Bolt and Shadowburn have a 10% chance to rip open a hole in space and time, which will open a random portal that damages your target. So just reducing keybinds. Ruin has been redesigned. It increases the critical strike damage of your Destro spells by 15 to 30%. Avatar of Destruction has been redesigned. Casting Soulfire summons an Overfiend. Opening a Dimensional Rift has a chance to summon an Overfiend instead. That's how we're going to be summoning our little Chaos Bolt pets. That's way better. That's way better. Summon Overfiend now generates 1 Soul Fragment every 1 second and casts Chaos Bolt at 60% effectiveness. And its summoner's target lasts 8 seconds. Chaos Bolt has been added to the Destruction talent tree. It was previously learned at level 10. Chaos Bolt damage reduced by 35%, but not in PvP. Conflagrate damage reduced by 35%, but not in PvP. Incinerate reduced by 25%, but not in PvP. Lake of Fire damage got reduced by 50%, which is what the damage after your the Hail is the name of the ability that puts Immolate on everything. It's AoE. Soulfire now has a 3-second cast time down from 3.5. The following talents have been removed: Blistering Atrophy, Demon Fire Mastery, Minari Erudition, and Mark of the Ruvarad. I mean, I feel like Warlock, you guys are out of control, bro. You guys, this is too much. This is too much. Warrior. Hero talents: Colossus, Thunderblast got a 100% damage increase. Several talents in the Warrior class tree have changed locations. New talent, Stance Mastery. Your stances have additional effects. Battle Stance increases the critical strike damage of your abilities. Berserker Stance increases your auto attack speed. Defensive Stance, when an attack deals 20% of or more of your maximum health and damage, it's reduced by 15%. My God. That's a good one. Javelineer has been redesigned. Range of your throwing weapons is increased by 5 yards. Damage dealt by Champion Spear, Shattering Throw, and Wrecking Throw increased by 20%. Shattering Throw and Wrecking Throw silence non-players for 3 seconds. I mean, you may as well let it silence, you know? Thunderclap damage increased by 100%. Rend ability initial damage increased by 60%. Second Wind healing while you are below 35% increased by 100%. Bro, they wanted to nerf the passive healing all of the healers, but that's a lot. But they removed Last Stand, which is like a proccing kind of like save you ability. Didn't want that. For Arms Warrior, Master of Warfare, Apex talent has been updated. Your single target abilities can now trigger Master of Warfare. It was previously Overpower. All damage increased by 20%. Thunderclap, though, was nerfed by 20. The following talents have been removed: Storm of Swords and Initiative. For Fury Warrior, new passive, Titan's Grip, Single-Minded Fury. You can transmogrify your two-handed weapons to use one-handed weapon appearance. Okay, good. I was going to say, if that's a talent, don't make them put a talent for a transmog. Fury is the iconic dual-wielding warrior spec, and Titan's Grip provides a unique take on that fantasy. We also know that many Fury players want a different look. We've had several iterations of Single-Minded Fury in the past to enable that fantasy. With the advent of Transmog 2.0, we have the opportunity to allow players whichever weapon appearances they prefer for their fantasy without having to spend talents or fight with loot spec rules. Good. Apex talents, Rampaging Berserker has been redesigned. Rampage grants a stack of Berserk, which will increase strength by 1% for 8 seconds. Multiple applications may overlap, similar to Iron Fur. Recklessness now reduces Rampage rage cost by 15 to 30, increases Rampage damage by 5 to 10. Recklessness grants 3 stacks of Berserk, and the duration increases by 50%. I think so you don't have to like worry about whether you save your Wreck or not. This makes it just way less of a headache. Thunderclap also got nerfed by 60% though. For Prot Warrior, several talents in the Prot talent tree have changed locations. New talent, Last Stand. Activating Shield Wall increases maximum health by 30% and instantly heals you for that amount. So instead of being able to stagger them, it's just going to be a big cooldown that you get. They buffed your auto attack damage, of course, like all the other tanks by 100%. Everything by 100%. Shield Slam 100%. Revenge 100%. Devastator 100%. Devastator 100%. Phalanx 100%. Shield Charge 100%. Talva's Nails 100%. Were they just looking at it? It's like, yeah, nah, just double it. Devastating Focus increases the damage dealt by Revenge by 30 up from 20. And I Can Do This All Day has been removed. For PvP, oh my god, PvP changes. Scouring Flame now dispels 2 effects no matter what Empower rank is used. Oh, so if it's fully charged, it's not going to do 4. It's only going to be 2 always. I kind of don't like that. I thought it was cool to try and get it at max. Fire Ignition Burst PvP talent no longer causes Heat Shimmer to cast instantly. For Discipline, Dark Archangel now triggers from Evangelism, probably because they took Archangel and made it off of Evangelism, so this is their way of reducing a keybind for disc. So nothing really major. For user interface and accessibility, major defensive buffs will now appear as a large icon on the center of the raid frames, so you'll be able to see if your allies use the defensive. That's good. Added the ability to set a custom color for raid frame health bars instead of default green or class colors. You can pick what color you want the frames to be. Added a new bleed dispel indicator similar to, no, I don't like that one. It makes the frame look purple. And added ambient sounds for the Heronir scene on the character select screen. Okay. The dungeon filters in the pre-made group finder is now a fly-up menu to accommodate long lists of dungeons. Okay. Art has been added for journeys in the adventure guide. New accessibility for combat and audio alerts. Added support for announcing player and target spellcasts. Settings include whether to announce them at a start of the cast or at the end. Oh my god, you can have Gladiator Losa in the game. Use Fireball. I guess it would announce everything though. Might get overwhelming. Added support for announcing when the player's target starts casting an interruptible spell and when the player's target is interrupted. That's kind of OP. Added support for reading your primary resources, mana, energy, rage, etc. Settings include percentage, thresholds, format, and throttle. New interface damage meter. The avoidable damage taken category now displays a message notifying the player if they are in a non-supported instance. Changing the displayed segment of one window will change it for all of them. Increase the stacking priority of the source window so that it appears above most of the UI elements. Change the minimum allowed height of the damage meter in edit mode so it can be sized smaller. Fix an issue where damage meter sessions were being cleared with, when changing zones. Oh yeah, because you leave an arena and you couldn't even see what happened in it. So hopefully that's going to be part of it. For nameplates, they fixed an issue where cast bar spark appeared incorrectly for nameplate sizes. What about them going under the ground? Add-on interface. Removed restrictions on player secondary resources, combo points, cheat, etc. So add-ons can create custom displays. Added a new smooth animate option to status bars, health bars, mana, and cast bars, etc. to allow add-ons to avoid performance issues. So you can just customize more stuff. Added several new APIs. Oh, so if we don't want to use their health bars, we can just change it. Added several new APIs requested by add-on developers to allow them to display auras and cooldown swipes more easily during combat. I don't know what that's going to mean. Loosened restrictions on API that is used by add-ons to compare units to each other. To check if the player has a particular enemy targeted or focused or has their mouse over them. I don't know what that's going to... Fixed various issues add-ons were experiencing when showing tooltips in combat. Big update. Some very clear winners, some clear losers. Going to be very important to test these changes because they're taking serious risk with the direction of a lot of things. Seems like if you're a warrior or a warlock, you're having fun, or now mage apparently as well. But this is going to require like a lot of hands-on testing to see the extent of this. But there was a couple little nuggets in this update I think that were definitely worth checking out throughout this post, and also just getting an eye on the direction that they're taking the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys very much for the support as always, and I will see you in the next one.